Welcome to training camp 2019. Are you ready for some football?
Woo! John, where you going?
Yeah, crank it up.
Yeah, crank it up. Crank it up. I'm good with it.
You get to step up with pads on.
Let's have a great day. Have a great day. My name's Bill O'Brien, 14.
Freaking crabby old coach.
Catch the damn ball.
Go find somebody, make somebody miss.
God bless America, guys.
If you've never been knocked on your ass, you've never played.
Because if you don't make mistakes and you don't make corrections, then why the hell would we even practice? Get the next play.
Get in the end zone. It's a touchdown. Celebrate a touchdown.
Nice.
Folks, we are back at it. Hello, everyone. I'm James Brown, and welcome to the 12th season of Inside the NFL, right here on Showtime. It seems like it's been an endless summer of off-season drama. That is the perfect segue to introduce my guys here at the desk. Phil Simms said, JB, make sure you say I'm handsome. So it's the longtime New York Giants quarterback, the handsome one, Phil Simms, 15 years in the league, played in 174 games. The longtime Baltimore Raven Hall of Fame linebacker, Ray Lewis, 17 years in the league. He played in 249 games. And check this out, the one-time Denver Broncos wide receiver. The one-time Miami Dolphins wide receiver.
Come on,
the
man.
one-time
Chicago Bears
wide receiver.
The
one-time
New York Jets
wide receiver. The
one-time
New York Giants wide receiver. And the one-time Seattle Seahawks wide receiver. And allegedly, one-time New Orleans Saints Brandon Marshall. Go ahead. Now, if he tells us he's still being paid by these squads, that's pretty good.
Now, that's good. That's good. Did you get the guarantee?
No deferred payments. I had a cup of tea with the Saints. I would like that taken off. Miami Dolphins was a one-night stand. I would like that taken off.
Wow.
Yeah, there were some things that I couldn't control, right? And you teed it up very nicely. You talked about the drama. Then you said the one-time, all-time. Come on, man.
If you were going to the Hall of Fame, which team are you going to represent?
Showtime.
Showtime.
I thought about that.
Good line,
I thought about that.
There
I
you
thought
go,
about
B.
that. I mean, you know what? My favorite team, though, was the New York Jets. The New York Jets, I had an amazing year with Fitzpatrick, my guy, Eric Decker, phenomenal time. Chicago Bears was great, but it ended badly because they didn't want me to do Showtime, and Jay Cutler and I bumped heads. Now that I'm not attached to another team, I can truly be opinionated.
Right.
I can be unfiltered.
And
so the things that are about to come out my mouth this year, it's going to be amazing.
Off the chart.
It's off the chart. I'm excited. The second thing I learned is that you're actually taking this dancing thing a little too far. You are going on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
You'll be the 21st NFL player.
Yeah.
You know how many you've won in the past?
A lot.
4.
Yeah, that's a good ratio.
Emmitt Smith, Hines Ward, Donald Driver,
Rashad Jennings.
all offensive
Ray's
players.
got a good shot at that.
Yeah.
Ray can move.
He can move on the field, but let's see what he does on the stage.
You ain't never saw Sugar Shake.
You think you're going to be the 5th?
Oh,
You
I
think
got a
you're gonna be
shake.
the
I got a
first
shake in
defensive
me.
player?
I got a shake in me now. You know that dance that come out that tunnel ain't just normal.
Ray, what did you learn? Go ahead, buddy.
No, I tell you what I learned.
man.
First of all, it's good to be back. It's always good to see the guys, man. But I tell you what I learned. To see Ed Reed go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this past year, I'm telling you, it's more than a teammate. That's a young brother who saw a vision. He took a vision. And in 2002, when that young kid came in, I said, what do you want? And he said, I want to know everything that you know. And to see that, right? And the first time in the history, B. Marsh, you know how hard this business is, but the first time in the history you had 2 defensive players of the year go back-to-back. I went in 03, he went in 04, then we come 2018, me, 2019, him. I'm telling you, it was like me going in twice, sitting there watching that. And the second thing I learned, Phil, honestly, watching all of these things happen in the offseason is there's no more loyalty in sports.
Wow. Yeah, it's like, you know what? It's like you're reading my notes. Ed Reed, first off, the hat was awesome at the Hall of Fame.
Amazing.
Got to get that. But, you know, there's no loyalty with owners. There's no loyalty with coaches.
Right.
And even most fan bases have no loyalty towards the players and care. Yeah. And that would be one of my first things. What did I learn this offseason? Well, the NFL players, like it or not, have become business savvy.
Yep.
Now, they're bucking the system. We see it with Le'Veon Bell. Antonio Brown did it.
Yep.
He got his way.
Melvin
Zeke
Gordon.
Elliott, Melvin Gordon's out there. Jadeveon Clowney got what he wanted. So I learned that. Now, what else have I learned? Guys like Brandon, they come in here. I've been doing this show for 12 years. He's a rookie.
Right.
He's a rookie. And what does he do? What does he do? He comes in here with a camera crew following him today. Now, what do you say about that, Ray?
That's what you're talking about.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm a tweener. I'm a tweener. I'm new school, but I'm still mixed with old school.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone's a brand now. You got to see the opportunity.
Right.
Right now, no one's calling me. I'm full-time Showtime, baby. Full-time Showtime, baby. So you know what I got to do? I'm a built that brand.
Less.
Talk less. You make mom unfiltered now. I'm going to make money talking now. What are you talking about?
I'm already tired of you. Hey, but
joining us later on in the show, we'll get back to you, will be our NFL rules expert and Super Bowl referee, our CBS Sports colleague, Gene Steratore. Phil will get a chance to add a little bit later because Pete's saying, JB, move on.
No, I got to get it in.
No,
I got to get it in because it won't work the rest of the show. So here we are. Look how trim Ray is.
Oh, no,
Ray
he's leaned down
up.
nicely.
You know
Phil
what?
a beast.
I'm not a betting man,
Right,
but I'm betting you on that first episode of Dancing with the Stars, that shirt's coming off.
Pop off?
I guarantee it.
Before Gene Steratore joins us, let's catch up on the all-mega trades and, of course, the blistered feet and other significant stories of the ever-changing NFL landscape. How long did Brandon talk?
Brandon, forever.
Vacation time is over. Time for the NFL to go back to work. And workouts were anything but routine this summer. Washington's Josh Norman proved he knows his way around the bull. Coach Jay Gruden didn't seem concerned.
Well, I knew the bull wouldn't hit him. He avoids contact. No. Just kidding, Josh. Just kidding. No.
And the return to camps were equally creative.
The man, the myth, Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey was looking to cash in by proving he was a money corner in the league.
I know what it is. It's time to get this money.
J.J. Watt tried to turn back the clock in his native Wisconsin. But after breaking the seat of a Packer fan's bike on a ride to the stadium scrimmage,
the seat tipped up.
Watt made good on buying the young man a new bike. And while some critics feel Antonio Brown is full of hot air, his arrival as a new Raider brought more concern from head to toe, including treatments that caused near frostbite and endless appeals to wear banned NFL helmets.
You all know that AB is not here today. He's upset about the helmet issue. It's time for him to be all in or all out.
Joining new GM Mike Mayock for a season of possible hard knocks in Raider Nation is also Vontaze Burfict and Richie Incognito.
You have so many personalities and so many people from so many different backgrounds, and we're just trying to put this thing together and win some football games.
Odell Beckham Jr. was the other marquee receiver making a move. He will now be in Cleveland to see what the Browns can do for him. He'll be joined there by Kareem Hunt after he completes an 8-game suspension for violation of the league's conduct policy. Other old faces in new places include Le'Veon Bell with the Jets, Nick Foles in Jacksonville, Joe Flacco takes over at QB in Denver, Jadeveon Clowney was traded to Seattle, Ryan Fitzpatrick will be starting for a record-setting 8th different team, this time in Miami, and be challenged for the quarterback job there by newcomer Josh Rosen. Earl Thomas is now a Raven replacing safety Eric Weddle, who landed with the Rams. Tampa Bay brought in Ndamukong Suh. He'll be playing for Bruce Arians, who is one of 8 new head coaches this season.
Switch your feet, Odell.
Keep it going, D. Finish.
Go, D.
Oh, it's a beautiful looking jersey.
Top draft picks entering the league include Kyler Murray in Arizona and Nick Bosa with the 49ers. But on draft night, 6th pick overall, the Giants' Daniel Jones arguably created the most noise as the heir apparent to Eli Manning, while Dwayne Haskins is standing by for the Burgundy and Gold as their quarterback of the future. There was a star-studded list of marquee retirements this offseason, including Jamal Charles, Julius Peppers, Rob Gronkowski, Marshawn Lynch again, and the shocking ending to the career of Andrew Luck.
I'm going to retire This is not an easy decision. Honestly, it's the hardest decision of my life.
Many were not understanding, but there was overwhelming support and respect by his peers and those who respect the game.
I 100% respect him immensely for his decision.
Nobody's had to go through what he's had to go through. Nobody's been through the rehab and injuries. Everybody sees game day, but they don't see the off seasons. They don't see the Monday through Friday and doing whatever he possibly can to get his body ready for the game.
I think what he did is actually very selfless, not selfish.
As 2019 sets to kick off, there are significant names holding out. That would be running back Ezekiel Elliott of the Cowboys and Melvin Gordon for the Chargers. All fans are hoping to see them playing sooner rather than later. For everyone else who is suited up, it is time to get the centennial version of the NFL underway. And speaking of getting it underway, that was a meaty piece that we just saw there. But let's talk about some of the quote-unquote drama kings. AB, Antonio Brown with the Raiders. Now, we know we had to deal with the feet and the helmet. Can the team overcome that? How do you view that?
Yeah, well, I mean, no, you cannot win with drama. Every team does have drama, but when you talk about leadership and you talk about keeping things controlled, there's a way of doing that. But when you have drama that gets outside of the building, you can't win with that. So when you look at the circus around the Raiders this year, that's a distraction to the team, right? Instead of me talking about preparing for this game or this opponent or watching film, you know, I may be watching Twitter. I may be on Instagram. That's a distraction. And every little thing counts, all right, because it's a thin space between winning and losing.
Yeah, and listen, I totally believe this, right? Leadership is the example of what a leader is supposed to be. That's all leadership is. And if you're AB, you know, you created all of this stuff in Pittsburgh, and now you leave and you go to Oakland. Do you want that same thing to follow you? And that's what my questions become.
Well, most people see the most gifted player on the team as being the leader, and that will be Antonio Brown.
Yeah, and it will be Antonio Brown. So when you start to get into these issues, you have to sit down and ask yourself a personal question when you're in your own mirror, not when the lights are on. Who are you? And what do you actually stand for? And what are you leading your team toward?
And you're asking yourself those questions because
you got to ask yourself, are you the leader, or are you just another talent? Well, and I think you have to figure that out sooner than later. I'm telling you, because that's what makes great teams. You know, he said something, right, about drama in the locker rooms and how do you deal with that. A lot of people don't win with drama,
right?
But everybody has it.
So who is the leader on the Raiders from your perspective then? Go ahead.
Let me just say this. When you have drama in the locker room, you're in trouble, okay? Now, we talk about Antonio Brown out in Oakland. If you don't want the drama in the locker room, that's up to who? John Gruden's got to find a way to rally it the right way, set the environment where you won't have that drama. What do you do to stop Antonio Brown from being the person that we're kind of talking about, getting the football? John Gruden knows that. When they brought him in, they know the best way to keep him quiet and to be part of the team is getting the football, and they will get him the football no matter what. He got what he wanted. He wanted out of Pittsburgh. Why? He wanted more money. He wanted another paycheck, so he got it from the Oakland Raiders. So that's the helmet. Now, you know, the helmet doesn't bother me as much as it does a lot of people. You know why? Because football players are so, I heard you two talking, so particular about the equipment and everything.
Right.
I can't see everything. Yep. And nobody works harder once he's on the field than Antonio Brown. He's a tremendous worker. So when we talk about all this, to me, it's the organization, and John Gruden has to control it.
You just got back from Cleveland. You interviewed Baker Mayfield, and certainly there's a lot of marquee around that team with OBJ out there as well, too. Talk about Cleveland and the drama kings there, if you will.
Well, I'll say this. Odell Beckham Jr. is in a different spot now. Now we don't want to hear it anymore. It's over. He's got to create a new story. He's got Freddie Kitchens, who's a no-nonsense coach, and he's got a guy, quarterback, in Baker Mayfield. Yep. Hey, look, he's a natural leader of men. He is the leader. He is the man. He's been yelling at the receivers, taking control of the football team. That's going to get rid of all this stuff that we're kind of talking about. So I think Odell Beckham Jr. has a chance to really redo what we think of him, or a lot of fans think of him, in a positive way.
If you looked at Cleveland on paper, you're like, they are the favorite in the AFC.
On paper.
Right, on paper. But when you actually get into the nuts and bolts of things, you have to ask a real question, right? When anybody's cool when everybody's winning. When everybody's winning, everybody's good. What happens when you go to a 2-3 game slide?
Right.
And you start to lose? Who is that leader? Is it Baker Mayfield? Is it OBJ? Right? There's going to have to be a leader that emerges from that core of guys to say, when did I change? And I truly believe that OBJ has that potential.
But, Brandon, the talent certainly is there. There's never been a question about that. Is the maturity there? Is that a fair question to ask about OBJ and others? Is the maturity there?
This is super simple. It's a simple equation. Talent only takes you so far, right? You can have all these amazing pieces, but if you don't have the chemistry, if you don't have the culture, you cannot win.
People are still on that team going to look at OBJ as well, especially when times get rough.
He gets a chance to do it.
Is there the buy-in?
He can change his entire legacy right now. Yeah, if he takes Cleveland and he becomes that leader in Cleveland.
Even in tough times.
Even in tough times, because that's the times that people are going to need somebody like him.
But here's what you got. Phil said it. He's not the leader. He's one of the leaders. Baker Mayfield is the leader.
Yeah, well,
right?
It's all.
Is that even a question?
I look at the coach. He's the man in charge. Set the table, and then empower the right group of guys on your team to get it done.
And the players have to buy into the coach's philosophy, if you will. Hey, Le'Veon Bell, we didn't talk about that. Zeke Elliott in Dallas, and of course the Andrew Luck. I mean, that's a whole segment in and of itself, and we're going to get there as well in the program. Well, while draft picks, blockbuster trades, and new head coaches all certainly generate headlines, this offseason, so have new rule changes impacted matters as well. Let's take a look. 2019 will begin with some dramatic rule changes in play, and they'll be enforced with some new officials overseeing the action. With 52 years of experience between them, veteran officials Walt Coleman and Pete Morelli will be stepping away from the game. The latest retirement group means the league has been challenged to replace 17 veteran officials over the past 2 seasons. 2 former NFL players, Nate Jones and Terry Killens, will be part of 6 new officials coming aboard this year. They will supervise the changes highlighted by these rules now in play. The owners voted to make permanent the kickoff rules implemented in 2018. 5 players must line up on each side of the ball with only a 1-yard start from the line of scrimmage. Wedge blocks are not permitted. Last year's kickoff changes translated into a 35% drop in reported concussions. Also this year, the elimination of the blindside block. It is no longer legal to initiate contact with the head, shoulder, or forearm when a player's path is toward or parallel to his own end line.
There's a flag. That's going to be a hit on a defenseless player. You can't do that.
And most newsworthy,
3rd down and 10. Breeze from the gun. Takes a snap.
a new guideline for pass interference.
Throws to the near side. Hit early. Where's the flag?
In response to the non-call in last year's NFC Championship game, starting in 2019, both offensive and defensive pass interference calls are reviewable. But plays can be reviewed whether a penalty was called or not called on the field. Still, to change a ruling, there must be clear and obvious evidence. In the second and fourth quarters, after the 2-minute warning, the replay booth officials can stop the game. Could be some interesting reviews. Buckle up, football faithful. This season was 100 years in the making.
Woo! It's time for my favorite subject, NFL rule changes. It's clear and obvious who we need to call, so I welcome back my guy, Gene Steratore.
Good to see you, Brandon. Welcome back.
Man, thank you. But it's not my favorite subject, all right? I think that's what's obvious and clear over the years of us doing this show, okay? Help me and help America understand this new rule change on pass interference. It's the first time ever that it will be reviewable.
You're right. You're right. And truthfully, Brandon, clear and obvious are two good words because they apply to this new rule as well. We all know what occurred at the end of the season. The unfortunate judgment that was made in the NFC Championship has taken us to this point, and that is that replay will now review offensive and defensive pass interference. For those at home, all that really means is we've just added 2 more plays to the review process, okay? So everything that involves instant replay will take place the same way. Coach gets 2 challenges, and the booth will review inside of 2 minutes or in overtime. So all of that stays consistent. What we need to understand, though, is what does reviewing pass interference mean now? So what happens when a coach does challenge a pass interference? Okay, so official calls pass interference on the field. They go into that challenge if it is challenged or stopped for review under the premise that that ruling that the official made on the field was correct. So replay's standard to reach at that point will be to take that ruling that they believe was correct going in and have to see something clear and obvious.
But you know what?
Or significant.
Show us something that is clear and obvious from last year that kind of explains why we have this new rule.
Clear and obvious from last year was the NFC Championship, Phil.
Well,
look at that
that's
play.
one, but how about this
now
play?
Here's a play that happened in New Orleans, Week 16. That was also ruled pass interference. So we see that there is some contact to the back. The ball goes up in the air. The official on the field calls pass interference. Now, we would look at that as football people and think,
would you overturn it?
That doesn't look really that big to me, right? Okay, but there's a flag thrown. We're going to the review at that point under the premise that that ruling was correct. I would say, in my opinion, because there's a hand on the back, because there is something there, although we may not think it's big enough, guys, right? We may look at that and go, that's not enough. It was called. That play, in my opinion, would be upheld and remain pass interference, okay?
Here's my problem with what's going on now. 5 years ago, I remember it was my first time on this show, and we talked about pass interference, right? Then we had this adversarial relationship between fans and the league office around officiating. I feel like we're recreating that again. Do you feel the same way?
Here's what I know, Brennan. Half of that rule book is ruled by the black and white letter of the law, and it has to be, right? Personal fouls, their letter of the law plays. Wherever they happen, they're fouls. The other half of the rule book, there's a piece of that rule book that allows the official, that 5 to 8%, to referee that game in the art of what he believes is enough for a foul and what isn't, not by the letter of the law. That's what makes good officials great, okay? When I refereed my crew and led my crew, my thing to my crew was, listen, we fish for whales, not minnows. Make the fouls big. Okay, make them jump out at you. The same needs to apply on this. Listen,
Gene,
these are judgments.
I love the judgments, and I love where we're going with these pass interference rules. And it just takes the game from 3 hours and 30 minutes to 4 hour game.
I hope you're wrong.
That's what it does.
I hope you're wrong.
That's what it does for the fan. But what happens? What happens when with this Knicks rule that's in, which was my favorite? Like the game, Brandon, you know this. Well, I mean, no kid. You just pay attention, Phil. The bottom line is we're talking about head on a swivel. That's the first rule you learn when Pop won a football. And now we have a rule that says you can't use the shoulder, you can't use your arm to throw one of the best blocks ever.
That's right.
Which is the peel black block. Now, I know, I truly understand safety. And I know where they're going with safety. But what I'm asking is, now you're asking people to put up their hands to throw that block? Do you know? I don't know if we really realize how much velocity that's coming to actually put up your hands and stop. So now you're talking about dislocated elbows, dislocated fingers, wrists, all of those different things coming in. Gene, you got to help me understand.
Demonstrate. Demonstrate what you have to do.
And I don't disagree with what you're saying, Ray. Look, when I played the game, I'm pretty old myself, so punt returns, we all were waiting for the wall to line up, and we would pick that one person now, the third one there. That was like the weak link. He's not looking. Oh, I can't wait. The fans couldn't wait. The players couldn't wait. I get it. The game has evolved. Safety is an issue. The NFL, the competition committee, has decided that this is also a step they want to take to make the game safer. So, as you said, can't initiate helmet from the side, parallel or back to your goal line, okay? If we're going north and south, I can still hit you the way you said. It's when I'm going parallel or back somewhere, which is what I know you've lined up. We do want to see some space between when the hand initiates contact with the player.
It's changed.
The game has changed.
You know, Gene, I saw that block not a lot, but quite a few times in the preseason, watching all the games. Guys had angles. They could have wiped them out. Instead, they just turned and kind of blocked them out and butt blocked them, really. That's what they did.
We have to become more fans of those types of plays.
And you can learn
as opposed to being fans of, wow, he took his head off.
Hey, Gene, thank you, man. I'll tell you what, it was great. Now we're more confused than ever
I'm sure
before.
we'll see Gene again this year, but let's throw it to JB with our other favorite JB, Judy Batista.
All right, Brandon, thank you so very much. And who better to bring us up to speed on all the NFL news around the league than our senior writer with NFL.com. That would be Judy Batista. He's got it in his contract. He needs a lot of FaceTime.
No.
Phil is over here.
I just had to get away from Brandon and Ray. That was it.
Tough segment for you, huh? Hey, seems like a lot of player movement. Most fans have had to have a pencil keeping change of the roster moves. What's the big takeaway?
It's really a lot of star player movement, right? I mean, there's always been player movement of lower tier players, but this is superstar players, and in a lot of cases, they're forcing the movement themselves. They want better playing conditions. They want to be on a better team. They want better contracts. So they are initiating the movement themselves. That's unusual in the NFL, but we've seen it over the last few years. Khalil Mack did it last year. Kirk Cousins really did it in Washington, leaving Washington for Minnesota, and this year we saw it certainly. Antonio Brown is the headliner who did this. We just saw in the last few days Jadeveon Clowney did it. So that seems to be the trend in the NFL.
Yeah, players are using their power. You know, one that's coming up, and it could happen today as we're filming the show on Tuesday, Ezekiel Elliott. You know, he was a first-round draft pick. Very rare after 3 years for a first-round draft pick to be out there trying to get a new contract.
And, of course, we should make the point, it's only players the level of an Ezekiel Elliott who could pull this off, right? Or a Melvin Gordon is trying to do the same thing with the Chargers. There are just not that many players who have that kind of leverage. Jadeveon Clowney did. He didn't want to play under the franchise tag in Houston. Eventually, he forced them to trade him to Seattle. He even got to pick his landing spot. He wanted to go to Seattle, and he got there. There are very few players in the NFL who have the power to do it. But for the first time recently, we have seen them exerting that power. That's new for the NFL. Usually the teams have all the power because they're non-guaranteed contracts, so the power rests with the team. These are star players who are using what little power they have, they're exerting it.
And just to underscore this point that Phil made, again, we're recording this show on a Tuesday afternoon, so we understand the Cowboys and Ezekiel are close. Ray Lewis brought it up in the earlier segment talking about there's no loyalty in the league anymore, and he talked about legacy. What does that mean with respect to this player power that we're seeing them exercise?
Well, you know, I think that finally the players see themselves, they get themselves in a position where they can take advantage of it. Before, it was not even thought of to try to get out of your contract and move before it was up. And I want to ask Judy that. You know, we're seeing so much movement by secondary level, not stars, but almost, and then real stars, and we're seeing more trades too. Why so many trades and so much movement in the NFL?
Well, let's be clear about something. There's never been loyalty on the team side, right? If a player was not performing or they just decided the contract was too big that they didn't want it on the books anymore, that player was gone. So there was no loyalty from the management side. Now it's evening out a little bit for star players. Why are we seeing so many trades? I think you're seeing teams, a group of younger executives who are very aggressive about acquiring. If they think their team is close and that they only need maybe a piece or two, they're very aggressively pursuing those players. I think that's what you saw with the Houston Texans. Now, we can debate whether the deal was a good one or not. They gave up an awful lot to get a left tackle in Laramie Tunsil, but they clearly thought the offensive line was a weakness of the team, that they are otherwise a contending level roster, so they went and got the player. You're seeing that in the NFL more. There's so much pressure to win and win fast. Long rebuilds are just not tolerated anymore. You don't get 5 years.
No.
You get 2 years, 3 years if you're lucky. So teams have to go for it. If they think they're close, they have to take the next step.
I think owners feel it too. Owners now, you know, to go ahead. You know, we saw it last year. First year coach get fired, and now you said it. You're really on about a 2-year window now. And if you're not near the playoffs, you're showing great improvement, especially with your quarterback, then as a coach, you could be in trouble.
Amid all the offseason changes, there are still plenty of constants in an NFL summer: demanding coaches, competition for jobs, and, of course, love of the game. Our friends at NFL Films captured all of it. Folks, here are the sounds of the training camp.
welcome to training camp 2019. Are you ready for some football?
Well,
I like it.
Well, we are glad you are here.
Oh, no, it's about to be fun.
That's right. It is about to be fun.
Woo! Let's go. You're just sitting in the sun like 80-year-old Baton Rouge, Louisiana alligators or something on a log.
I forgot to get a snack before I came out here. Starving. That means I'm gonna be probably.
We got to get the sound up. We got to crank it up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Crank it up. Crank it up. I'm good with it.
There we go. There we go. We got some club music going now.
I'm doing good, man.
Feeling it today?
I'm feeling it. Come on. Come on. Jog, where you going? Jog, where you going?
The only reason I keep on you is because I care and I want you to be the best you can be.
You get to step up with pads on. Good Lord, you got an opportunity today.
This is when football becomes football.
Yes, sir.
Not all that other in April and May.
Yeah, let's have a great day. Have a great day.
Let's go. Get it started. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, hey, number 14. My name's Bill O'Brien, 14.
Like a ninja. Like a 340-pound ninja.
Get on up there. Take your time. Read the coverage. Hold it. Hurry up.
Hey, ay, 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 ay. Ho! Ho! Ho!
Nice.
Go, get on that edge. Get on that edge. Make a move. Make a move.
One thing about that spin move, once you bend the corner like this, the spin isn't as effective.
I want to see what this looks like with Aaron, if we can really book him to see if he's a
Why are we
factor.
so tight? Get out and run. 999. Run, run.
That is why you are a bad man. I wanted to see if you could make a play from a 3 technique on a jet sweep. Good man.
They gonna find somebody to make somebody miss. I gotta find somebody to make somebody miss around here. There it is! There it is! There it is! Okay.
Oh, me. How do we not get that?
Oh, man!
I could have thrown that. I could have thrown that.
That's awful. Offense, that's terrible. Guys got to be ready to play offense.
Freaking crabby old coach.
Oh, me.
Hey, Buster. Touch the damn ball.
God bless America, guys.
Yep, you'll make mistakes. Just keep fighting through it.
Hey, don't worry about what just happened. Get the next play, right? Get the next play.
You got to be able to shake it off now. This is the NFL. There's guys that can, you're going to get beat. You're going to get knocked on your ass. I always say, if you've never been knocked on your ass, you've never played. You never played.
Exactly. And then you learn from every mistake you make, right? That's part of it. Because if you don't make mistakes and you don't make corrections, then why the hell would we even practice, you know?
Let's go. Keep it going, Ho. Keep the pressure on them.
Oh.
Hey, that's a hell of a throw. Hey, 10. Good throw.
Good play. That's it, Hop. Great route. Great route. Great play. Get back in there. Here we go. Another one. Let's go. Let's do it again. Hey, I bet you beat it to the outside. And then you scored. That was one of the best reps you've had in 4 years. In practice.
Sorry to tell you this, but you are no McCaffrey. You are no McCaffrey.
Go fast. Go. Play fast. Play fast. Go.
Get in the end zone. Get in the end zone.
Marcus.
It's a touchdown. Celebrate a touchdown.
Bring him up. Let's go. Bring it up.
The intensity is going to get ramped up.
It's a damn good start, but it's nowhere near the finish.
We know that there's going to be mistakes and you're going to get tired, but this is when football becomes real.
Break us down. Here we go.
One, two, three.
Love you, man. I love you.
I feel good. That was
Oh, my goodness.
Good day. Good first day.
Undoubtedly the most shocking story coming out of training camp, the unexpected retirement of Indianapolis Colts quarterback Andrew Luck. Now, his decision has put the spotlight on something that our guys are all too familiar with, and of course, that's playing with pain. Clearly, that's part and parcel of the game. But, Phil, let me get your thoughts immediately wrapping up that decision by Andrew and the reaction by many.
I understand. Was I surprised? Of course. Will he ever come back and play again? I don't think so. You know, Andrew Luck's a really interesting guy. He, unfortunately, was probably the biggest and strongest guy at every level he played at. So he played that way, and he carried it over into the NFL, and he played in 2 offenses where you had to hold the ball, throw the ball down the field, so he took unusual punishment by design, I guess, with the offenses, but also he was just an aggressive runner with the football that took way too many hits.
You guys tell me, when he says unusual punishment, I mean, was there the O-line protection for him? Because certainly from 2012 to 2015, that team was second, third, fourth, and second in terms of most hits allowed.
Let me answer that just real quick. When you get a quarterback now, what's the first thing every team does? They build the offensive line around him because they're worried about the quarterback, and they did not do that for him. So I'm sorry to jump in.
You know, it's interesting because when you played this game, from my perspective, right, I actually searched out pain. We dealt with pain differently. But when you see...
Wait a minute, what do you mean you sought out pain?
It was
you wanted to hurt.
Come on, that's what my position was. My position was go issue that. Go make that feel like that. Why? Because you don't want them to keep getting back up like that. So what does that mean for Andrew Luck? Andrew Luck was on the opposite side of that. I want you guys to really think about something, or anybody who's saying something's wrong of what Andrew Luck done. Really? First of all, you can never tell a man how his body feels. But I want you to really think about something. In Andrew Luck's career, since drafted to the Colts, in 2016, they drafted 1 center at the 18th pick, which was Ryan Kelly. 2018, they come back and draft Quinn Nelson, a guard.
And that all says what to you?
So you mean to tell me in an Andrew Luck career, as many times as he's been hit and keep picking this up off the ground, you've only invested in 2 offensive linemen there since he's been there? I had the same argument. Bro, when I was starting to get really people climbing up to me the next level, I'm like, what are we doing in Baltimore? I need a big body in front of me.
Yeah, that's right.
And to make the point, those were 2 first-rounders, but only 2 first-rounders in all that time.
In all of his time. So he took a eagle's eye view, and he said, he looked at training camp and looked at his defense and looked at his offense and looked at that same offensive line and said, how can I win?
Brandon?
Yeah.
You know what? I think we're missing it a little bit. We're talking all about the physical pain, and I think this is more about the mental health. It's not about the physical health, it's about the mental health. Because pain, like you said...
Hold on, you mean added to the mix of the physical pain?
Well, Andrew Luck, this discussion on pain and playing through injuries, it's less about the physical health and more about the mental health. Why? Because pain is inevitable. After the first game or after the first practice, 80% of all NFL players
will never be the same.
Are dealing with something.
Yes.
Right? So the good ones, right, are the ones who can actually play through it. And that's the battle, right? Like he said, he's in this cycle, okay? He's in this cycle of getting hurt and then rehabbing. Those first couple months is some of the hardest times
of your life.
Lonely
a professional football player, basketball player can ever go through. All right? It's so tough. Think about this. If I hurt my ankle, there's a good chance I could be back in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, when the general population, they're in a walking boot for 6 weeks. Yeah. Think about that. An NFL player has a surgery, a scope on his knee. He's back in 2 weeks on the field playing at a high level when general population, they're on crutches for 2 months.
And let me coattail on the point that you're making, because I did hear Hall of Fame GM Bill Polian say the same thing. How dare you folks out there who have never gotten up off of the couch to say what a guy can and can't handle. You guys deal with that all the time. But to Ray's point about the eagle eye view, because Andrew, you'll correct me, he did play hurt even when he had the shoulder. He played through. But if he took a look at the big picture and say, wait a minute, and they haven't done much on the offensive line, do I want to go through this again? That's the part. Is that fair?
First off, they had fixed it. Last year he played in a different system, got hit much less. Frank Reich took care of him.
But what about all up to that time?
It was too much. Getting hit. But he brings in a great thing. Depression is part of it. When you're hurt, you are not part part of the team. You are like isolated. You feel it out there. It took unbelievable courage for him to walk away like he did. I'm just telling you, I don't know, I'm just speaking for myself. There's no way, no matter how much
Real
pain.
quickly, how did you handle pain when you played 15 years?
I had no other choice. I got to play. You know, I don't have – Andrew Luck has many choices in life. I just figured I put all my efforts in life into being a professional football player. So I wasn't walking away no matter what. So Andrew Luck is under different circumstances.
Doctor's treatment, massages for you?
No, but just for me, no. When I that was not part of the NFL.
No massage.
Dan Reeves came in my 15th year, and he instituted. We got a massage on Fridays.
On Fridays,
and I thought I couldn't wait for Friday because his body was so tight.
Versus after my fourth year, I would get a massage every day after practice.
And you're not a diva.
Every day. No.
Okay.
Again, we got to wrap it up. Hey, we got to wrap it up. But Ray says, I sought the pain because he was delivering it. Hey, folks, there is no question that NFL football is the toughest of games. And you know what? It's also the most dazzling, compelling, and I think these guys would agree, dramatic. Now, to get you all pumped up for our new season from our award-winning colleagues at NFL Films, here's a look back at the sounds of the 2018 season.
You know what today is? It's my mama's birthday. So I'm going to have to kick you know what today.
I told the guys, I said, let's run plays we recognize. I just want it to look like football.
Hey, we want to kick that way? Hey. I forgot. Now let's kick that way.
Let's play! Jiminy Christmas!
On the approach and the run-up. No, the ball falls off the tee as Savasha approaches. What?
Snap is back. It's very low.
Ah, come on.
Manning stumbles as he rolled to his right.
Can you stay on your feet? Huh? Okay, no problems.
Takes it at his own 38. Big dive for it. Who has it?
I could not find that ball to save my life. It hit me in the head.
That was Drew Brees' 8th reception of his career. All thrown by himself.
I'm not the last receiver on the 100 list. I think I'm maybe 5th.
Freddie, what the do you want, man? What the It's a direct snap. It goes to Chubb, and the Browns go gimmicky, and it did not work.
No way.
It almost worked.
God bless America, y'all suck.
Where's the pass rush here? Our rush will get there. Our rush will get there.
Either I watch the game from here with a beer, or I go out there and I chase the quarterback.
I got blasted.
All day. That's all day.
I'm sorry, but that dude is huge.
Thank God he's on our team.
Hey, 2-0. Hey, that's hurting.
My fault, man.
He was apologizing in mid-hit.
Hey, my fault, man.
Hey, what's illegal contact?
You can't let him get away with that. That's not fair.
98 full body slam my ass on the chest, pick me up out the air. We're gonna pick.
Boom. Control your emotions. They're the ones right now that are dealing with all the frustration.
And I get it, man. It's an emotional game, but let's not beat ourselves. We're off the grass. We're smarter than that, okay?
You guys got any ideas for me up there?
Let's go. Let's call it. Call it. Sprout left exit. Richard Nixon.
Sink right, Richmond, baby snake drizzle.
It's okay. I like the call.
Hey, I'll give you $1 you tell me what you're about to run. I'll give you $1 you tell me what you're about to run. Come on, man. $1, I got you. I'm a rookie, man. I ain't got money like y'all.
Hey, keep the gas on it now. I don't even know what I just said. Alpha, go.
That was gangster right there.
Hey, that's grinding meat right there.
Now he's going to tuck and run, and Matt Bryant scores.
That's a great run. Can I do that? Let me get two. Let me see. Now it's in. And then I throw it up. All right, I got it. I believe, we believe in you. Whoa.
He's going to throw to the end zone. Tyler Lockett is out there. here, baby.
You get a win. You get a win. Let's see what the fans got to say. Let's see what the fans got to say, boy.
Let's get out of here, man. I got to get home for dinner.
We've been through everything to be here. Tonight is the night. Show the world. All right, 20 seconds.
Settle down, everybody.
They can't cover me. Angels! Angels!
Lobs a throw. Buoniconti, left side, makes the catch. Touchdown, Patriots. Takes the tap. Harmon on a blitz. Goff throws it to the right.
Intercepted.
Gilmore's there. Intercepted at the 4.
I'm back in the chair for the hardest job in football, keeping these two in order for the most popular segment on our show when I'm here.
When you're here.
When I'm
you're
here.
Really?
You know, I think I've heard
No.
before.
I don't want to hear it. Let's get to it.
It's all about
our
him.
picks for the National
Let's do
Football
it.
League's Week 1.
Week 1.
All right.
Opening night, Thursday Night Football on NBC. We have the Packers at the Bears. Who do you have, Phil?
I'm going to take the Bears. I'll ask you this real quick, Brandon Marshall, since you know everything. What's the weakness of the Bears? That's it. The answer is you did a good job. There is no weakness. The Packers, new coach, new offense, all that. Can they make it work in Chicago? I don't think so.
It's going to be hostile in Chicago. That Bears defense is one of the top defenses in the National Football League. Aaron Rodgers can do a lot, but I don't think Aaron has enough help. I'm going with the Bears.
This is the first time, I think, in 10 years that we've been more excited to watch the Bears than Aaron Rodgers.
That's very true.
I'm going with the Bears.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going
Great job.
with the Bears.
Smart pick.
Hey, Steelers at the Patriots, Sunday Night Football. What I'm excited about is seeing my man Juju Smith step into those shoes of the #1 receiver.
Yeah, but don't get too excited because you know what the Patriots are going to do to him, right? They're going to double team him.
Yep.
They're going to take away your best weapon. And I got bad news for all the Patriots haters. I think the Patriots are going to be better this year than they were last year. But the guy in the Steelers I got to talk about, middle linebacker Devin Bush. Watch him. He's unbelievable.
That is a complete.
But I'm taking the Pats.
You're taking the Pats.
Listen, that's a complete football player when you talk about Devin Bush. Just talked to him the other night. Just an awesome kid. But back to the reality of things, right? You talk about the New England Patriots, the defending Super Bowl champions. I think the biggest adjustments this offseason was what Bill Belichick done from the defensive side of the ball. I just think that's going to be the biggest key. A lot of people talk about offense and what Tom Brady's going to do, but I think where the Patriots edge out this game is going to be on the defensive side. I'm taking the Patriots.
No love for the Steelers.
I love the Steelers. I think they're going to be a really good
now.
team.
You guys know this is Big Ben, right? This is
It's okay. Yeah, we done saw this story before. I'm going with the Patriots. Who are you going with, Brandon?
I'm going with the Patriots as well. Of course, you can't go against these guys, and I'm with you, Phil. I think the Patriots are going to be better this year.
Yep.
For some reason,
they'll be faster.
They'll be better if Tom Brady can hold up. I'm going with the Patriots.
All right.
Anyways, Chiefs at the Jaguars.
Okay, that's a good game. Kansas City going down to hot, humid Jacksonville. If that defense, will it live up to the billing that we keep talking about? Tell me the weakness of their defense. There is nothing. They got two outstanding corners. They have a chance to cover.
Hold on.
What?
We're talking about their defense? What about last year?
Hey, I know it fell apart, but we talked. Hey,
so you're a believer again?
Yes, I am. I think they're a great matchup against Kansas City. I think Jacksonville's going to win the game.
Wow.
Nick Foles and Leonard Fournette are going to be a little bit of a difference maker for Jacksonville. Is Kansas City's defense, did they get much better this offseason?
I don't think so, but they did get better on the offensive side by adding Shady McCoy. You add that type of dynamic. I don't care if his numbers are last year.
Yeah.
You add him to Pat Mahomes and what he already has with Kelsey and all those guys on that offensive side of the ball with Tyreek Hill, that is a totally different ball game. I think Kansas City figures it out.
I'm one up. Let's go.
So you're going with
Jacksonville.
And I'm going with Kansas City Chiefs.
Come on, Phil. Are you serious? You're going to start the show off like this?
Yeah. Have you looked at this Jacksonville defense?
I'm going with the Chiefs. Anyways,
the first time
next
they played
game,
together,
next game.
Let's go.
Something's
Keep it
wrong
going.
with you. Titans at the Browns. It sounds like you're a believer after spending some time with them.
Well, the Browns, listen, they're front four. Everybody can do it. They can stop the run.
Yeah.
They can rush the passer. It's going to be rough. The Titans, they got a new offensive coordinator. I really like almost everything completely about the Cleveland Browns.
I tell you what, everybody talk about the Cleveland Browns on paper, but I tell you what, I'm telling you, if you get a player like OBJ to take his career to the next level, and the people and then that organization.
What is the next level?
The next level is now becoming the leader of
No
that ball
distraction.
club. Man, listen, I'm telling you, his talent and what he can do to inspire people.
Okay,
the Cleveland Browns can be rough,
enough
man.
preaching. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Browns.
You're taking the
You gotta
Browns?
take the Browns.
I'm taking the Browns. I believe in the hype. I believe in the hype
too right now.
Browns are going to be really good.
Right.
Giants at the Cowboys. A lot of talk about Daniel Jones being the starter quarterback.
Well, we know that's not going to happen. It's going to be Eli Manning. I really love the Giants offense a lot. I think this is going to be an exciting game. If I had to, I was like 3-15 picking the Giants last year. If you figure that, it's 18 more than they played. But I'm taking the Cowboys in a very close game.
I am taking the Cowboys, and Ezekiel Elliott has to get into camp because he has to figure it out. He is the bell cow. Everybody follows him, and that's as far
You're
as
talking about
Cowboys
Zeke,
go.
but he's not playing.
Listen, he needs to be there week 1. That's why I'm picking the Cowboys. He'll be there.
It's going to be a long season, as you can see, folks. Now over to our man, JB.
Brandon, good to have you back in the studio. And if you haven't heard Ray in the pulpit, Brandon, he can preach, no question about that. That, folks, is the essence of this program. Passion, knowledge, and, of course, a whole lot of fun. And Inside the NFL has been that way from the beginning, thanks in large part to Nick Buoniconti. In television, as in football, we all stand on the shoulders of giants. And there is no question that here at Inside the NFL, we all stand on his shoulders. Along with his longtime co-host, Len Dawson, Buoniconti created a show that became the gold standard for the NFL. A man who rose to every challenge, Nick Buoniconti leaves a legacy that touches millions of us. In July, the NFL lost a legend.
Another guy, the shortest guy, was a middle linebacker, Nick Buoniconti. Shortest guy to the right. Look at this side, yeah.
Nick Buoniconti passed away at the age of 78. And what he leaves behind is a legacy stretching far beyond that just of a football player. Considered too small to play professional football, the 5'11" linebacker was selected by the Boston Patriots in the 13th round of the 1962 AFL Draft.
All-pro Nick Buoniconti grabs off this hurried pass and makes like a fullback for 41 yards.
He was selected to 5 AFL All-Star games, was named to the first team All-AFL 5 times, and was inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame. But Buoniconti's playing career truly took off when he joined the fledgling Miami Dolphins in 1969.
It was a team that was really not going anywhere.
3 years removed from their expansion season, the Dolphins needed a leader, and they got it in Buoniconti.
I assessed what was needed from what my role should be. It had to be someone who was going to stand up for the players, someone who was going to speak for the players, someone who's going to criticize his teammates if they had to be criticized, someone who was going to kick someone in the butt if they weren't doing what they were supposed to do.
Named defensive captain upon his arrival, he led Miami to 3 straight Super Bowl appearances and was the cornerstone of the 1972 undefeated team.
It's a long count at the line of scrimmage on the snap. He drops a couple of steps back, gets a good rush, fires, picked off. By Buoniconti, 45, 50, 45 to the 40, 35 to the 30. He's run out of bounds at the Washington 25-yard line.
It all worked, and I think that's in the final analysis, a 17-0 team and 2 Super Bowl championships and a sort of a dynasty of a team that was an expansion team from 1966. And then the sum and substance of it all is it's one of the greatest teams that ever played in the NFL.
Buoniconti continued to make his mark long after his playing days were over. While with the Patriots, he earned his law degree, and as a sports agent, he represented nearly 30 professional athletes. In 1980, he began a 23-year stint in this chair as a co-host of Inside the NFL.
They were just dog way all the way, but I'll take Cleveland at home.
You know something, I don't understand how March got so outsmarted. Don't you think that eventually you go to your tight end or you go to your running back, Marshall Faulk, and yet you don't do that? I mean, how could you be outsmarted the whole game?
He was a television staple for a generation of football fans, providing insight and that undeniable Buoniconti feistiness.
We went undefeated on the road 22 straight games, undefeated on the road.
How many years did you go undefeated?
And we did that in 3 years. Excuse me? How many years did we go undefeated?
He retired from the show in 2001, the same year he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But maybe Buoniconti's deepest impact will come as a father. In 1985, Buoniconti's son, Mark, suffered a spinal cord injury while playing football for the Citadel. and was paralyzed from the shoulders down. Together, the Buonicontis became the face of paralysis research and worked to raise more than $500 million. From his television family and from football fans of all ages, Nick Buoniconti will be sorely missed. Boy, a real true superstar both on the field and off the field.
Yeah, he was. You know, he was, of course, on the field. He was as tough as they came at middle linebacker. And on this show, when he was on it with Lynn Dawson, he was a tough critic, too.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was. So if you lost, I did not watch the show once we lost, but I'd watch it if we won because maybe he would say something nice.
But loss is not in your vocabulary. As a matter of fact, in the pre-show meeting, back in the green room, you told Brandon Marshall and you told Ray Lewis that you not only picked the Super Bowl winners last year, two teams that will be there, and the winner, but you also predicted the Final Four.
Yeah.
Now, you're a good Catholic boy. I've never heard you lie to me. So Pete Radovich and the guys went back and they researched, and we wanted to find out if that's exactly what you told us.
I told them, and they were just dumb enough to believe it. In the AFC, I like the New England Patriots versus Jacksonville Jaguars in the championship game again, and I'm going to take New England. On the other side, it's New Orleans and the Los Angeles Rams, and I'm taking the New Orleans Saints. And I picked the New Orleans Saints to be Super Bowl champions.
And I told them people in that green room that you did not pick the Super Bowl champ.
Yep.
I knew you did.
And he talked you down. He said he did.
I had New England winning it.
You know
Brandon,
what, Phil,
don't let him off the hook.
I had New Orleans and LA in the championship game.
Who didn't? I did too.
That was so believable.
So believable. Straight face and all.
You looked Steven Espinoza in the eye.
And did what?
Lied? Said, no, you sure did.
Well, let me tell you, it ain't the first time I lied to him. So,
all right.
Be the last
Super
either.
Bowl predictions. You want to start with Phil?
Yeah.
All right,
Super Bowl predictions.
This is on tape now. Go ahead.
Okay, it's on. Well, yeah, like I said, I knew. Okay, really easy. I think New England's better this year than last year. Okay, so there you go. That's one. Surprise pick on the other side, I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks. I like their offensive line. I like their running back. Of course, I love their quarterback. And when they get that whole defense together, Ray Lewis, they're going to be – it's going to look like that team we saw years ago. Run it and beat you with defense.
Wow. This is a shocker. You already took it. The Patriots, I do believe if Tom Brady stays healthy, they'll be right there again. They'll be better.
And on the NFC side, what do you like?
The Saints, that defense. We're always talking about the Saints and Drew Brees. We don't talk about that defense. The Saints will.
Ray's got a smile on his face,
and they will win it.
Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, you know what? It's always funny the way you hear guys say, it's hard to go against the Patriots. And, whatever. Listen here, guys. Pat Mahomes picked up a key piece in LaShawn McCoy this offseason. You bring that type of dynamic and add it with a Tyreek Hill. Kansas City Chiefs, I told you, I think Pat Mahomes was one pass away from really understanding how to beat Tom Brady. Where he takes the home run.
You're missing it.
It was an offsides. They won the game without the offsides.
Ray's missing it, though.
What am I missing?
Defense wins championship.
Oh, now you defense wins championship.
They don't have the D.
They don't have a D, so they're going to have to outscore anybody. But I'm telling you, Kansas City Chiefs, and on the opposite side, I'm going to agree with you, the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees, you take that pass interference call away, which you can't. Drew Brees is poised to win.
See, I'd have been right last year.
If was
We
a
got
if.
10 seconds here. Ray, outstanding job again. Dancing with the Stars as Brandon teased you. We're going to see your moves on the floor. We thank you so very much for watching. Enjoy your NFL kickoff weekend, and we'll see you next week on Inside the NFL right here on
Showtime.
All righty. Brandon, your boy loves you. Your boy loves you.
I don't need it.
We came on you. You were slapping us around like...